Okay, get ready for a linguistic journey that's going to sound absolutely impossible. We're about to connect two things that have no business being together, the act of giving birth and ordering a draft beer. It's a story that's been hiding in plain sight for 2,000 years, spanning two countries, all tucked inside a single sound.
So here it is, the central puzzle. What in the world is the connection between the Korean word for giving birth and the Japanese phrase you use to order a nice cold draft beer? It sounds like a riddle with no answer, right? Well, the solution is this incredible peek into how our ancestors saw the world.
All right, let's meet our two main characters. Over on the left, we've got the Korean verb nata, which means to give birth. And on the right, the Japanese word nama, meaning raw or fresh. You've definitely heard it if you've ever ordered na마비루, or draft beer. They look different, they sound different, their meanings feel like they're from different planets. But believe it or not, they are basically long-lost twins.
To crack this case, we have to look for a clue. But this clue isn't written down in some ancient text. No, it's hidden inside the very sound of the words themselves. We have to listen closely.
The key that unlocks this entire mystery is a really cool linguistic concept called Dongwon. It's this ancient idea that a word's sound and its meaning aren't two separate things. They actually spring from the very same root. So in this way of thinking, the sound is the meaning.
And the source code for this whole story? It's this one, single Korean consonant, Nian, the one that makes the N sound. This little guy right here, he's the ancestor of every single word we're about to talk about. Okay, now this is fascinating. I want you to actually try this. To make that N sound, your tongue presses against the roof of your mouth, and then it pulls away, pushing air out. Our ancestors saw this physical motion and thought, hey, that's exactly what it looks like when something comes from an inside space out into the world. It's the sound of emergence.
So long before this sound ever traveled anywhere, it gave birth, and yet that pun is totally intended, to a whole family of related words on the Korean peninsula. And they all revolve around this core idea of emergence.
And just look at this family tree that sprouts from that one na sound. You get nada, which is when something appears, like a little sprout coming out of the ground. That evolves into nata, the act of bringing a new life into the world. Then you have nalgyat, which means a raw thing, literally something that has just emerged and hasn't been cooked or changed yet. It even extends to nalda, to fly, which is just another form of emerging upwards.
Now this is a really crucial distinction to get. Think of it this way. Nada, giving birth, is the action. It's the verb, the thing you do to bring something into the world. Nalgelt, a raw thing, is the state of being that thing that was just brought forth. They're two sides of the very same coin. One's the cause, the other is the immediate effect.
And this is where it gets even cooler. The whole concept is super flexible. Emergence isn't just horizontal, like a baby being born. It can also be vertical. The word nulda, to fly, takes that exact same root idea and applies it to the act of emerging upwards, from the earth into the sky. It's brilliant.
Okay, so we've got this incredibly powerful ancient concept of emergence, all packed into this one little sound. Now, let's picture this sound going on a journey, carried by ancient peoples as they traveled across the sea to what we now call Japan.
And here, this is where we find the echo. It's like hearing a familiar tune in a totally new country. The sounds and the ideas that started in Korea, they didn't just vanish. They transformed, they adapted, and they found a brand new home in the Japanese language.
So the big question is, what happened to this na sound of emergence on its voyage? Did it stay the same? Did it change into something new? Well, the answer is a little bit of both.
Okay, this table, right here, this is the smoking gun. Just look at these parallels. They're incredible. The Korean action word nada is mirrored in the Japanese verb nasu, which means to accomplish or achieve something, to give birth to a result. The Korean word for something appearing, nada, is echoed in naru, to become. And the state of being a raw thing, nalget, finds its absolute perfect match in nama, raw and unprocessed. So let's zoom in on our beer connection. This is the moment it all clicks. On the left, we have the Korean 날got, literally a raw thing. That first part, 날, means raw, fresh, just emerged. And on the right, the Japanese nama. It is the exact same concept, the state of being fresh, unprocessed, straight from the source.
Now you might be thinking, hold on, what about the L sound in nal and the M in nama? Great question. This is actually a super common thing in linguistics. As languages borrow words from each other, sounds tend to soften and adapt. In this case, that final L sound naturally morphed into a softer, more nasal M sound. It's like a river smoothing a stone over centuries.
And here's the kicker. This wasn't some random one-off borrowing. It was a systematic transfer of an idea. The core grammatical forms for emerging in Korean, naso and nara, line up perfectly with these fundamental Japanese verbs nasu and naru. This shows a deep structural connection, not just some wild coincidence.
When you step back and put all of these pieces together, it's about so much more than just a few words. You're not just looking at language anymore. You're literally listening to history.
Just think about that journey for a second. A single sound, born from the physical act of something emerging, grows to mean giving birth in Korean. That idea then branches off to describe something raw and unprocessed. And that concept sails across the sea and lands right in your glass of cold Japanese beer. It's mind-blowing.
And that's the real takeaway here. Language is like a living fossil record. It's an archaeological dig. Buried deep inside the simple, everyday words we use are the incredible stories of our ancestors, their journeys, their ideas, and how they made sense of the world around them. You just have to know how to listen for them. So, the next time you hear a word in another language that sounds vaguely familiar, don't just write it off. It might be more than a coincidence. It could be an echo from a shared ancient past. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other amazing secrets are hiding in plain sight, in the words we use every single day?